Welcome to Old Stuff Show. Today we have a very interesting topic. A few programs ago I mentioned to you that there were two types of collectible topics. One I labeled as narrow, and those were the kinds of things that were not too easily found. And the other was the wide collectible, where many of the things were mass produced and people were just looking to add to what they had. Today we're looking at the category in the narrow collectible type, and I'm giving the title of the program Collectible, Not Real Money. So everybody likes money, but they also have liked to play with money that wasn't real and have fun with it. So some of these things that I'm showing you, they look like money, they're not real money, and yet they can be spent like money on occasion. Also, I'm going to look at a few tokens which have the appearance of a coin, but they're just really for souvenir purposes. The most well-known fantasy money and property game was Monopoly. And Monopoly was invented in 1935 by Parker Brothers, and they, during the Depression, found that people were interested in pretending they had money and pretending they had property, and this game fit the bill. The game, this particular game that I have, is from 1946, so not that long after the game was invented. Always important to have the rules. Many games have not had the rules. The games from 1940s and earlier had smaller money. That's the only difference. Yet the special cards were the same, the property was the same, and the markers were wooden in this case. So it's a little bit scarce to get one this early, 1946. But they're around, and if you were looking at buying something like that on eBay, that particular game would run maybe around $45 or so. The later pieces that were around were metal, and that's a horse, and there's a shoe, and so on. These pieces by themselves are collectible. I know people are looking for them just out of interest. The other game that I have is a later model. This is a little bigger box, and it's 1961. It has all the parts and pieces together, and so a little more fancy inside. That would run around $35 and up on eBay. There's people out there that just collect old games, and they have fun doing it. I know the early Victorian games are especially collectible. So that's the fantasy money and property game, and still alive and well today. Another type of fake money, I guess we could call it, but political campaign promo money was used a couple of times. I've shown you one already, but I'll let you have a look at it again. This is the Fuddle Duddle Pierre Trudeau money that the PC, the Conservative Party, used, and they were complaining that Pierre Trudeau was bankrupting Canada, and so they put that out as a little gimmick. Not real money, but looked like money. Also, to reverse it, the Defen dollar was put out by the Liberals against the Conservatives, and they were complaining that the dollar was a 91-cent value dollar in 1962. Many Canadians today would like to see a 91-cent dollar value. But collecting political items happens in a lot of different formats: pins, buttons, literature, signs, brochures. If you had something like that, say from the 1950s, that's a pretty substantial piece of collectible, and people are always out there looking. So that's the political campaign promo money. Then there's a category of money that is kind of interesting and again quite collectible, and that's the wooden nickel. The wooden nickel was put out usually at a local level and issued as a promotion, and could be traded in this case it's 5 cents. It could be traded into something locally. But they're out there, and the eBay value of this, they might command around $3 or $4. The Second World War had produced something kind of interesting. It's not exactly money, but it was connected with spending, and that was the ration booklets. Everybody had a ration booklet during World War II. And the purpose of the ration booklet was the government wanted to make sure that everybody had access to, in an equal way, to a variety of products, meat, sugar, gasoline. I've even seen them for beer. So these would be given out, and you'd have to sign for them and make sure that you used them properly, or you could be fined. Some of them were identified right on the stamp. This one was a meat one. So, oops, there we are. This one's a meat one. Some of them have letters, and I'm not sure what they exactly stand for, but could be sugar, could be tea, flour, whatever had to be rationed to make sure that everyone had equal access to it. And if you cheated, you could be fined. But they're relatively easy to find, and in terms of value, they might run around $4 or $5 each, depending on how many stamps are inside. If you had a full booklet, that's worth more than a booklet that had very few stamps in it. In Canada, this country, the general populace would be familiar with another form of fake money, and that's the Canadian Tire money. Canadian Tire is a store that sold tires, but it also sold all kinds of other automotive products and general products as well. And how you got these was you were given these depending on the value of your purchase, and then you could save them up, and the next time you shopped you could use them as a discount for your purchase. You might say, well, how can that be collectible? But the older ones are actually quite collectible. I was looking at an article in Maclean's magazine on November 3rd, 2017, and they were doing an article about collecting Canadian Tire money, and they discovered that the 50-cent bill like this, if it said 50 cents from 1958, it's worth $1,500. So I didn't realize that that was out there like that, but it must be quite difficult to find, and it's old at the same time. So a lot of people had this Canadian Tire money, and they just kept it in a drawer and they never ever used it. So, you know, if you have an older person in the family who has a drawer full of this, you might make sure that you check it out, because you might have something that's worth a little money here. Gift stamps, not to be confused with food stamps. In the U.S., food stamp program was launched a number of years ago and then withdrawn. But this is an example of a grocery store gift stamp. And how the gift stamp worked was it was given to you based on your purchase, and then you could save them up and trade them in for gifts that they would show you in a catalog. So the more you purchased, the more stamps you got, and therefore I suppose the better the gift you could get eventually with them. So that's kind of in a sense not a real money thing, but it has value. It has redeemable value. This one, which I have here next, is quite old. It's it says free coupon number 3, and on the back it points out that this was redeemable if you give your regular wholesaler this coupon. You could get a free New York Daily Mirror. So old, collectible, and worth something in those days. Also, there were special promos. This one is more local to me, but it's interesting because there are all kinds of unique little gimmicks and promo stuff that came out. This is a round cardboard-like item that has a hole in the middle, and it says put a penny in it, and then insert the 1 cent, and it has valuable redemption. So this was from a local meat market, and so the penny inside would be redeemable. And in those days, of course, a penny was worth a lot more than it is. Well, we don't have pennies in Canada anymore. You could return a bottle, an empty soda bottle, and you would get 2 cents. So pennies were worth something. And it's interesting to think about the penny today, because in the U.S. there still is a penny, and it doesn't take long for you to get a pocket full of it. But government in Canada implemented the program that if your product cost you $1.03, then it would be rounded up to $1.05, or if it was $1.02, it would be rounded down to $1. So it works well, and it saves a lot of unnecessary use of change, and besides, it costs more to make a penny than it was worth. So that's a kind of special promo. Subway tokens, token that has value, like this particular one is in a original holder, and it's for the Toronto Subway. But some of the older ones here, people look for the different kinds of tokens that were used, and they collect them just to have a set of them. But this does have value, of course. So those are types of things that you could call not real money, fake money, but they have value, and in some cases can be as good as money. I know a flea market vendor who has a sign out. He says that he accepts Canadian Tire money because it's as good as real money. So it's used as in games. It's used as promotions, and it has value. Now the tokens, on the other hand, these are things that look like a coin, but they are really only a souvenir. In this case, the product called Oxidol in 1953, it's a soap company, put this out as a souvenir of their silver anniversary. So this was just an advertising promo for them to get some attention about their company. This one is from a telephone company for 60 years of service, and it's called and they put out a coin called Pioneer Day, October 28, 1971. Again, just celebrating an anniversary and a souvenir of that particular occasion. Canada in 1967 had its centennial year, and there were all kinds of little souvenir coins issued. This is one that has a little value in terms of collectability. At the time, it was just a souvenir. Today, I've seen them sell for even up to $10 each. Sometimes special organizations like this is the Wildlife Association that put out a little souvenir coin to celebrate their existence. Sometimes this is not exactly a token, but some people look at it as a token. Dog and cat license. This is from Michigan, and people find that as an interesting collectible as well. Well, whether you have things that are worth something in terms of actual money, or whether it's a souvenir, in this narrower topic, not real money, they're all collectible in a different way, and I've met them all. I've met all different kinds of people who are interested in each one of those items, and that's the thing that always amazes me, is that you never know who collects what, and in my job as working at antique shows and collectible shows, I meet all kinds of people, and every person is asking me for something different, and I can picture the man who comes to my show every time and asks me if I've got any corkscrews, because he likes to collect corkscrews. So if you don't have a hobby, a collectible hobby, you might be in a minority, because there's so many people out there that do collect, and they have a lot of fun doing it. Now, most of this will be on eBay, my site, Lonrem, Lonrem, and they should be on shortly. Very important, a reminder that you subscribe. That will give you notification of the next program coming up, and it also is important for me to gauge my success of the show over a long period of time. And also remember that every Friday there's a program that I'm adding to the list, so check it out. So that's about it for today, and again, I say to you, enjoy collecting, and enjoy hunting for it, and have a good day.